Chapter 22. The Box. The dinner party held the following week, in celebration of the county seat and its commissioner, one Finn Macree, had luxury and wealth on full display. Miss Coo, the hostess, led the operations and organized the groups for preparations, such as servers, cooks, and scullery maids, the pruners, housekeepers, and the valets. Miss Catherine Walker, as the story goes, was known by Coo, a name her father chose when she was just a baby, nestled tight. Within his arms she'd coo both day and night. But in adulthood, coos became commands, as soft melodic mews became demands. Miss Coo was built much like a gangly tree, with slender limbs that seemed to reach her knees. Her skin was caramel brown like cinnamon bark, her hair streaked white like lightning in the dark. Her cheeks so full they seemed about to burst, as did brown lips, held permanently pursed. The ivory tablecloth had textured wreaths that ran the length and framed the centerpiece, where she arranged the roses red and white, with blue carnations fitting for the night. Her serving staff, adorned in formal wear, were setting polished silver forks with care, beside the floral patterned china plates, of cobalt blue and gilded golden flakes. Out on the balcony the boys were grunting, hanging the heavy patriotic bunting. The drapes cascaded from the porch's rails, by hooks they tacked into the wood like nails. But after all the bunting had been hung, Clancy lugged the ladder by its rung, and strained while saying, "I'll be back, y'all." But Thomas asked, "Need helping with that haul?" "Nah, y'all go ask Miss Coo what's next," said Clancy, grimacing, his right arm flexed, while leaning left to counterbalance weight. He staggered with a peg-leg pirate's gait. Through open doors he took the ladder wide, into the barn to put it back inside, and carefully he leaned it on the wall, then backed up slowly to see if it would fall. Caroline, who held a long white box, snuck in as if a ginger-footed fox, with silent steps not even harming hay, and stood behind him in the entryway. When she said, "Boo!" his stomach rose like yeast. He jumped as if a spring had been released. The box was hidden well behind her back, as Clancy said, "Give me a heart attack." "I came in here to give you something else." In wishful dreams the boy thought to himself, perhaps she was referring to a kiss. Instead she showed the box. "I bought you this." Although his boyish dreams were not achieved, the cardboard box had him intrigued. Unusually shaped like an isosceles, black letters, Borsellino Grand Prix. He asked, "What's Borsellino mean?" But she corrected him, "Not line, but lean. It's Borsellino. Tell me that you're kidding. The finest hat in gentlemen's outfitting. And just last year they won the prize Grand Prix, the mark of Europe's highest quality." His cheeks grew hot and red at his misspeech, but still he took the box within his reach. He sat down on a crunchy bale of hay and slowly slid the box's lid away. Within the box was ribboned tissue paper, with cursive B's imprinted by its maker. He drew the satin ribbon by its cord with all the care excitement would afford. The ribbon's loops resembled bunny ears, yet in a single pull they disappeared. A thought so sure came into Clancy's mind. The hat would be the coonskin frontier kind. But when he spread the tissue paper wide, he saw a store-bought ivy cap inside. The woolen herringbone hat looked soft and plush. Its rain cloud gray invited him to touch, because he saw a vision in his mind, where he was sitting next to Caroline, inside the church, up there, an upper pew, just as the boy had prayed to one day do. Unlike the skipping rocks they each had tried, this country boy had reached the other side. It seemed so strange to walk inside that place, then down the road to look at his own face. Below an ivy cap, a traitor's crown, he cast his shameful eyes upon the ground. When Clancy glanced back up, his eyes deceived his mind, because the country boy perceived that Jake was sitting next to him. He wore an ivy cap as well. "Least I ain't poor." Clancy's other face stared back at him, an honest smile before his face grew grim. It morphed as bones below the skin were raised. Clancy's face turned into Blaine McShay's. The vision made him shudder and recoil, as crayfish do when staring at the boil. So though the hat appealed to his desire, he pulled his hand away like it was fire. She said, "You act as if the hat will bite. Well, try it on. Make sure the fit is right." But Clancy couldn't even move his hand, which made her fold her arms. "I understand. You hate it, don't you?" "That ain't it at all." To hide her tears, she turned to face the stall, and like a pot lid lifts as steam is seeping, he heard suppressing lips give way to weeping. He eyed the open doors, removed his hat, and finger-combed his hair to slick it back. He cringed to think of putting on the thing, like being forced to eat his chitterlings. Reluctant hands had never moved so slow, but Clancy reasoned no one else would know if he just put the hat on for an instant. Yet he would know, a torture so persistent, because to wear a townie's hat was treason, so brash no neck would entertain a reason, except for one reason in the world, to stop the crying of a pretty girl. The hat felt cold and stiff upon his brow. He ached with guilt like he forsook a vow, but said to her, "Look here, the fit is fine. Come on now, stop your crying, Caroline." She turned to look, her bottom lashes wet. He said, "See, ain't no cause to be upset." She smiled with shiny cheeks from teary sap. "You seem a regular Edward in that cap, and very handsome, dashing, dare I say." She walked to him with swishing hips and sway, a technique often used by female cats right before the animal attacks. And Clancy, mesmerized by this display, didn't hear the voice in calling say his name from outside of the barn until the twins walked in. "What in Sam Hill?" As soon as Clancy heard what Terence said, he jerked and snatched the hat from off his head. But Terence spoke again. "You turncoat, you!" and ran at Clancy, who ducked the punch he threw. Terence, like a flustered chicken, chased Macree, who scuttled from his grasp with haste. But Thomas, quickly waking from his shock, restrained his brother as if he were in stocks. Clancy promised, "It ain't what you think," while Thomas barred his brother. "Let him speak." But Terence, writhing, said, "I warned you next. A townie girl? Dadgum, what'd you expect?" As Thomas held him tight, "'Nuff out of you. All right, Macree, you got some splaining to do. She ain't no townie. Don't call her that no more. And when she buyed this hat there at the store, she didn't know it was no townie hat. It was a gift. A 'spensive one at that. I had to put it on. She cried, y'all. What kind of cad would sit and let her bawl?" The girl inquired, "What's going on? Stop it, stop it. Have I done something wrong?" And Clancy answered, "What you done was nice. Ain't never got no gift to such a price. But you should go and get your money back, 'cause only townies wear them kind of hats. It ain't no hat that I could ever own, 'cause I's a neck down to the bone." Thomas felt his brother's body slack as if a fishing line that pulled had snapped. And thus the Morey twins were moderated, because the turncoat was exonerated. Miss Coo, displeased, came trudging in the barn while dragging Boone with her extended arm. She gripped his scruff like mothers do an ear when sons are caught in something insincere. She said to Clancy, "Your dog done hopped the pen, got in the house and tipped the bin again. Trash everywhere, so quit your messing round and get your white behind in there right now." When she let go of Boone, he walked with shame, while Coo's hot eyes still branded him with blame. And Terence looked at Clancy in disgust for putting on that hat, betraying trust. So Clancy took the hat within his hand, careful not to snag a single strand, and put it back into the box and tied the ribbon's bow. At least he tried. And with the lid on top, Macree returned the box to Caroline. The girl looked spurned. He said, "I see that look. Don't take offense. I reckon that it probably makes no sense to a proper English girl like you." "You think that I don't get it, but I do. My dad would never wear the German's grey, and rather die than wear a French beret." So Clancy asked, "Then why you look so cross? You'll get your money back and take no loss." She took the box and spoke with simple grace. "You know, the world is a much bigger place than Cartersville, and people are much more than either necks or townies, rich or poor. These names are merely labels you've defined that keep you in a box, like this, confined. But just like Boone, who hopped the pen, be free of silly labels. Just be Clancy Macree." The boy was half confused and half impressed. Miss Coo exclaimed, "Y'all best clean that mess.